It's been 4 months since this crash in a Paris tunnel shocked the world. A French judge wants to talk to Trevor Rees-Jones, but what will the bodyguard remember? Plus, the case of Paula Jones versus William Jefferson Clinton continues. The implications of a new Clinton filing.
This is Burden of Proof with Roger Cossack and Greta Van Susteren.
Hello, welcome to Burden of Proof. Trevor Rees-Jones, the only survivor of the crash that killed Princess Diana in a Paris tunnel, has a date in court Friday. A French magistrate who's investigating the August 30th crash wants to know what Rees-Jones remembers from the night of the accident.
Joining us today in Miami is Dr. Steve Batterman. He's a forensic engineer who specializes in accident reconstruction. And here in Washington, Natalie Mitnick, comparative law professor Jim Feinerman, and James Tuxbury. And in the back row, Charlie Adler and Lauren Higgins. First, let's go to Mark Hosenbaugh of Newsweek magazine. Mark, we understand that Trevor Rees-Jones today is going to meet with a French magistrate. Why is that happening?
Well, because the magistrates are trying to kind of wrap up the investigation here. The French police have pretty much come to the conclusion that this is a run-of-the-mill traffic accident, but the magistrates have to kind of dot all the I's and cross all the T's before shutting down the investigation.
All right, now, what is he expected to ask? What kind of questions will he be asked?
Well, he's going to be asking all about the, I mean, whether he remembers anything about the accident. Who said speed up, who said slow down, whether anybody was chasing them, why they were going so fast, etc.
Well,
my understanding from people at Harrods, who still employ Mr. Rees-Jones, or the Fayed family who still employ Mr. Rees-Jones, is he still doesn't remember very much.
Jim, explain to me what it means he's back in court. I mean, we have one idea of what court's like here in the United States, but what does it mean in France to be back in court, to be asked questions?
Well, in the civil law system such as France, they have piecemeal hearings, and this is going to be Rees-Jones, perhaps assisted by his lawyer alone, with the investigating magistrates appearing in court. It won't be a full-dress hearing with the other people involved, including the accused photographers.
Is the proceeding closed to the media? Is he just going to go into court and talk to the magistrate?
That's right. It's a closed proceeding, and it's very, very private.
Is it on the record? I mean, there'll be a court reporter there taking down everything he says?
Yes, and everything that's in the record can be shared with the other civil parties, including Dodi Fayed's father.
Can he refuse to answer questions? Like, for example, in this country, of course, you can invoke the Fifth Amendment and refuse to answer questions. Can he do that?
Yes, but there are two important differences in France, or in fact in almost any other European civil law country. One is that inferences can be drawn from his refusal to answer questions. And since there's no jury to be prejudiced by that, this could have some sort of adverse effect on how he's taken and whether he seems to be cooperating with the system. And secondly, it could be used to implicate him in some way in the investigation that's ongoing. He is, after all, an employee of Fayed, and since another employee of Fayed, the driver, is seen as the chief culprit so far, any refusal to cooperate with the investigating authorities by not answering questions could have some adverse impact on the overall liability that's assessed against Fayed.
And the big question, of course, in Paris is, is what did cause the accident? Was it the paparazzi chase, or was it something else? Was it alcohol? And let's go to two witnesses on the telephone, Jack and Robin Firestone, two Americans who were in Paris just moments after this accident. They came upon the scene. Robin, exactly what did you see? Did you get there before the ambulance, and what did you see?
Yes, we did arrive before the ambulance, but there was a police car that was at the entrance of the tunnel just where their accident was prior to getting in the tunnel. Apparently they were there on the scene because they happened to be in the neighborhood.
What was going on at the scene when you were there?
There were photographers, I would say about a half a dozen photographers, some snapping pictures, some kind of arguing and flailing their hands, a police officer trying to get one of the photographers physically away from the car, another photographer running around to the car, leaning on the windshield and taking pictures inside the car. A lot of chaos.